Angela would have to take me with her, and you know, she would cut out of school or be smoking in the schoolyard, and then I would go home. Of course, I was 6 years younger than her, and I would tell my mother, Angela's smoking.
And listen, not everybody's going to agree with my decision. I can give a fuck less. You're in that position, it's you who got to face it, then you do what you need to do.
Little Changolini, he gets to the jail and
steal cars from Maryland and take them to Delaware to a chop shop.
The inside prison in Thailand, as well as what Victor Malarek, the reporter, did to get me out of there.
You know, and I sat down and thought about it for the longest time. Okay, but once I made up my mind, it was about survival. I need to take care of my kids and take care of my family. And when a guy's not being loyal to you, how could you be loyal to him?
Welcome to Chattin with Staxx.
Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got a really good one for you. I got Jodeane Mccarty. So she was married to Darrell. Darrell was a famous country music artist. He was a songwriter. He music legend in the country music industry. Everett, what's up, man? How are you? Shout out to everyone who takes the time to watch my show, and shout out to Jodeane for taking the time to come on here and explain some of her story to me. And I wanted to come on here. What's up, Racked Up? How are you, man? Racked Up Rob. So this show is huge. If you guys don't know, there's an unreleased Willie Nelson song that I'm going to be playing with this episode. It's going to be on the back end. So once it's done playing, you guys will hear the whole song. I have it playing in the background a little bit throughout the interview, and you guys will see that right now. So let's get down to business, shall we? And I'll be back on after this is done playing. I'll be back on to talk to you guys about what you think about it. So enjoy, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Jodeane.
We got a long train coming. I'm doing just fine, and I'm ready.
Thank you so much for coming on my show and sharing your story. I really appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, no doubt. Of course, you're definitely worth the time. Everybody I bring on the show is worth the time.
Thank you.
Definitely. Before we get started, make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you could get my videos every time they drop. So,
of course.
Do you want to introduce yourself to the people and tell them who you are and where you're from?
Yes, I do. I'm Jodeane Mccarty, a.k.a. Jody Darrell, a.k.a. And I got a great book coming out. I hope to share it with many, and it helps many. My mother was a dancer on the Frankie Yankovic show. My daddy was an outlaw. I ran with the country music legends, and I made a promise to Johnny Darrell, and here we go.
So Johnny Darrell was your husband, right? For
yes, he was.
Years.
He had 7 major hits in 1 year. Green, green grass, a home. Ruby, don't take your love to town. You picked a fine time to leave me with Lucille. He said that Kenny Rogers followed him around with a pencil behind his ear, but he didn't mind when Elvis Presley covered him.
Well, Elvis Presley is one of my all-time favorite artists ever.
Elvis Presley covered him on Pieces of My Life.
Wow, that's like insane.
They call Johnny the king of covered music.
Where did it all start for you?
Well, I've always had, I was born into music with my mother on dancing, and my biological dad was a bootlegger, And I had like 11 stepdads. And that's a hell of a story. One of them ended up in Huntsville prison, which is my biological dad. My second dad, let's see, let's see. Oh, yeah, he killed himself, committed suicide of a beautiful mother. And my third dad went to collect on a job on Christmas Eve, and the guy said, sure. And he went back to the back and came out and blew him away. My life has been all about music and outlaws. And
so when you were younger, what was it like when you were a young girl? Around 14?
Well, I ran away with a keyboard player in a rock and roll band called the Champagne Brothers, the fabulous Champagne Brothers, who had some hits on the radio. And they started out the youngest rock and roll group in the world, and ended up playing for the President of the United States of America, President Johnson.
Wow. So how did you cross paths with these artists? How were you able to cross paths with all these different artists throughout your years?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was raised in Houston, Texas, and Spring Branch, and we actually ran with B.J. Thomas and Roy Head and, Sonny and Cher, and, just, I was just there. I was just born into it. I just, it was always about music and outlaws, but that's how I fell into it. And then after a divorce, I got a job at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, Texas, shining boots, riding the bull. And David Allen Coe came in and gave a heartfelt introduction of Johnny Darrell, and a tall, dark, handsome legend of country music walked out, and I was hopelessly in love. And then I met him. He was on tour with David Allen Coe, and we met in Nashville, and I ran with the Stars, and Johnny Darrell was something else. It tells of me, my book tells of me running with the Stars, and Willie Nelson is my hero. He's definitely my hero, because right before Johnny died, Johnny had diabetes and kidney failure, and they told him he didn't have long to live, and we met Willie at the recording studio. And when we did, there was all these buses of legends all around, and Willie helped him up the steps and spent the whole day with him. I mean, this has just been my life. I mean, it's just been one day after another, and so I decided to share it.
So it was normal to you to be around all these country legends and all these different
They said, I've heard people say, well, she was a groupie or whatever, because I was always around, the music and the legends and stuff like that. But I married him. I married two of them, and I was just, that's the way I was born.
Yeah.
It's the way I was born. Yeah.
So some of the different situations that you've been through in life, some of them good, some of them bad, right? And
right, I have to tell
you. I seen a picture of a guy that was in a hospital bed. Can you explain that situation to me? You said that he saved your life, and
yes,
and the Outlaw saved your life, and I want you to try to explain to the people out there that situation, so maybe they can get a little more insight.
Oh yes. After Johnny had died, my dad had left me some land. I didn't meet my dad till I was like 35 years old. Bobby Joe Bab. In the newspaper it read, Big Bad Bobby Joe Bab. But I didn't know I was in the outlaw territory. But I was out in the country, and Cedar Creek Lake, a.k.a. Speeder Creek Lake, and that I was out there by myself, and I didn't know I was surrounded by, outlaws. But they took care of me because they knew my dad, who took care of them when they were little boys. And there was a biker group that came in from Dallas, Texas, and they were going to take over Speeder Creek Lake. And but I tell you what, mafias and cartel, who I also had a brush with, they have nothing on them country boys. I mean, I was blindfolded once, and so I couldn't see where I was going. But there was a place called the Forum, and so when they took the blindfolds off of me, there was me crying and all this and crying and screaming, and so I was introduced to Penny's Pig. So you didn't double cross those guys, you just didn't double cross them. But I did want to tell you a story real quick. Also, when I won a songwriting contest,
I want to hear all of them. I want to hear all.
Well, anyway, this is really cool. But I'd never written a song before, and my husband, one of the fabulous Champagne Brothers, said, "Jody, you can't write a song. You don't know how to write a song. You're not going to win this contest." So I wrote a song, but I needed to have Merle Haggard's tune of Okie from Muskogee. So I went up to a Coliseum. He just so happens was performing there at a big concert, and I stole a security t-shirt. And I went backstage and I knocked on his bus door, and he opened the bus door. He said, "May I help you?" And I said, "Yes." He invited me in. So I went in his bus, and he said, what do you need? And I said, "Well, I need your tune of Okie from Muskogee for my song for the Houston Oilers." And he said, "Well, just be glad I'm an Oiler fan." So I won. I won the contest, and the newspaper said songwriting housewife, and I said paper dear.
That's so awesome! Congratulations on that.
I've gotten 2 songs on the radio.
It's a huge accomplishment.
But should I tell you about when Johnny and I were married?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we met at Billy Bob's, and then I went off to Nashville and met him, and we ran around for a couple of years. Oh, we were together about 2 years before. Oh my goodness, we were together about 19, 20 years, Johnny and I. But we would just run together. We never. I mean, I loved him. He loved me, but we didn't think about marriage or anything. But we were taking this girl to Willie's to meet her boyfriend at the studio, and so anyway, she was in the back seat. She had her arms all over him, and everything he said, even if it wasn't funny, she'd laugh. And I just got tired of it. She was really coming on to him, and I pulled up. It was real late at night, and I pulled over on the side of the road. I said, "Keep your hands to yourself. He's my man. He don't want you. He's got me." And she said, "Don't bet on it." So I pulled over on the side of the freeway, dark, and I opened the door, and I said, "Well, bet on this bitch." And I threw her out on the side of the road, and I never looked back. And Johnny was real quiet. And that's when he asked me to marry him. I guess, it turned him on. And when we got married, he wrote a song called Blue Bonnets and You. And when he had recorded it. And so anyway, they said, "Come on in and your song's ready." They had to mix it in all, Blue Bonnets and You, which is a beautiful waltz, and waltzes never go out of style. But anyway, Willie Nelson came in and had done a verse on it, on Blue Bonnets and You. And he said, "This is a gift from Willie." So anyway, I made Johnny a promise on his deathbed. He said, "Don't sell yourself short. You know, remember you were loved. You were taught by the best. Go finish what we started." So I'm going to give everybody a copy of Blue Bonnets and You when the book sells, with every book sale. But it's a beautiful song.
What's good, everybody?
Life closes on
What's
me.
up, everybody? I hope you guys like that. So it's very interesting to me, and a lot of legends in that story, and there's a lot more to come with Jodeane. So, and I have a lot of different guests that are coming on. I've been stepping my game up. If you haven't noticed, shout out to Hector Camacho Jr. Shout out to all my past guests. Shout out to Tempest. There's a lot of people out there. Robert McNeese. Shout out to Partners in Crime podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check out the show they did about my life. I think it came out amazing. Thank you so much, Tracy. Go subscribe to Mob Hunter. The browser keeps going out. Go and check out. There's a little boy who needs donations for, I believe, heart surgery. And if you can, go help this little boy out. I'm going to share the link in the description of this video. And if you want to donate towards my channel, it'll go towards a good cause. You know, when I get money towards my channel, I put it back into the community. I put it back into the homeless shelter. I buy toys for the kids. And I set up a thing with the homeless shelter out here that when a kid's birthday comes up, they'll get a toy. So if you can find it in your heart, you can give to the channel, and I will do a good thing with the money. I'll email you later about what we spoke. Yeah, definitely, Tracy. Jacob, save Jacob. I'm gonna put the link for that in the description of this video, because when I seen that, I was like, wow, that kid is a I don't know why my browser keeps shutting off. I think it's from a wire. I have a loose wire, but I will put the link in the description of this video. Save Jacob. Go donate, and let's try to help this little boy if we can. And if you want to donate towards my channel, feel free. I appreciate everyone who comes and checks out my show. I'm going to jump on later with a couple guests, so stay tuned for that. Peace.